Greetings. Had an incident happen last week in Naperville, Indiana. What basically happened is there was a restaurant there and there was some group event. They had a lot of kids in it. And afterwards, a couple of adults were taking them to this restaurant, basically to have a nice little meal and let them just, wind down from the event before they took them home. So they go in and the person who greets them asked the guy what his race was. And he thought it was an odd question, but he told him, I'm mixed. And he says, what about the people who are with you? And he says, okay, I don't understand. Why are you asking me this question? And he was asking that question because they had a regular patron who went there who was a racist, who said he didn't want any, he used the pejorative. In essence, he didn't want any black people sitting anywhere near him. And management thought, well, this is a regular, so we're going to acquiesce to his request. So they brought them in there and put them way in the back somewhere. However, this didn't sit well with them. And it really didn't sit well with the racist guy either, who kept looking over at them with disgust and saying a few things, although he wasn't saying it to them, but he was saying it loud enough so other people could hear, because he didn't want them in there at all. And at a certain point, the guy decides, you know what, we're getting up, we're taking the kids with us. And it becomes a big, big news story. And later on, upper management somewhere else, because they certainly weren't in Naperville, decides to fire this guy and another person who were both management level people at the restaurant, said we don't condone that kind of thing, and we're now going to have training. Now, this happens a lot. A lot of folks don't notice it because, I got to tell you the truth, minorities notice these things because it happens to them, it happens to people who are like them. Most white people don't pay attention. They just don't, because it has nothing to do with them unless they happen to be at the restaurant and they saw it. And their thought might be, wow, that was weird. How did that happen? But it happens all the time. Here's my problem. I'm not talking about this from a diversity perspective. I'm talking about this from a leadership perspective. One of the reasons that we have so many bad managers and so many bad people in leadership is because the people hiring them are horrible. If you don't have the skills to know how to hire someone, to ask them the right questions, to find out what they're really about, what's their demeanor, not necessarily always what do they know about doing the work, but what kind of person are you? How do you work with other employees? How do you work with customers? How do you work with everybody? If you're not doing any of that, you're a horrible leader. You need to go. If you hire these other people, then it just shows just how, I hate to say it, but let's go with it, stupid you are. You're just bad. I know that when I was in a position to have to hire folks, hiring employees was easy actually, because, you went through a whole bunch of resumes. You could pick and choose who you wanted to meet. You came and met people and you talked to them, but they weren't leaders. I've only ever had to basically make someone a leader, and that was after the hospital I was with merged with another hospital, and I needed one more supervisor. And so I had to interview 3 or 4 people from the other hospital to get one of them to be a supervisor. And the thing is, I didn't just interview them, which most people would have done. I also interviewed groups of the other employees who were there. I let them tell me, okay, these are the people I'm considering for management. I want to know what you think of them as managers, as leaders, not as other employees. I don't care whether you like them or not. I want to know what you think as far as leaders. That could be considered kind of dicey, but the thing is, these were all people who had known each other 15, 20 years for the most part, and they were going to now have to respond to one of them as possibly the person that they're going to be under, because I had to mix teams of people up later on when we all totally merged into one space. So it wasn't going to necessarily always be like that, but I didn't know any of these people, and I had to bring someone in. And in the end, everybody really wanted the person who I ended up giving the position to. Although she really didn't want it, she took it. And she became good. I mean, we met probably at least once a week discussing leadership. We didn't, we also talked about performance, all these other kind of things, but we discussed leadership. I tried to mentor her on how to talk with everybody and how to bring people in and have a one-on-one conversation. That's really what you need. You have to be strong enough to be able to do that. If you're not, you're a bad leader. They're going to be a bad leader. You're going to have problems. And sometimes those problems are going to end up falling on your customers or consumers or whoever. And if that happens, you know what? It's just a bad situation all around, and everybody should take the blame for that. Good leaders hire good leaders. You need to think about that. Anyway, my name is Mitch Mitchell. Let me know your thoughts on this. This is not passing the buck. Everyone needs to be responsible and accountable for the people they hire. Y'all let me know. Hope you have a great week.